Today I'm with Sarah Naylor of Keller Williams. We've been talking about Rockwall. I know in our last conversation we talked about Rockwall being that nice meet in the middle between the big city of Dallas and the country feel, so to speak. Not quite the small town because of all the amenities, etc. We also talked once or twice about High Point.
Correct.
Two neighborhoods, High Points.
Correct.
You mentioned there might be some advantages to one over the other, but both are great. Price point you told me was $400 to $750. Tell me more about, so my question to you off camera until now was why would I go to High Point? Like what versus some other community in Rockwall or even another city? Why is somebody specifically drawn to High Point?
Well, when I'm meeting up with the client and they're giving me their wants, their needs, what they desperately want for their new house, it's often about the land. And they think in Rockwall I can get land. And that's true in certain neighborhoods. So when they mention that they're looking for at least a half an acre or more, my brain immediately goes to High Point because there's not a lot of subdivisions, and this is a subdivision that allows you to have that much land. The next question I often ask is, do you want a pool or do you want a workshop or are you wanting something else beyond that house? And if the answer is yes, High Point is where I first go. Typically the buyers are going to be looking on their own in the MLS to find neighborhoods, and they'll find a house that they love, but if I know they want a workshop, almost every subdivision with an HOA is not going to let them build the workshop that they want. It's going to make them be maybe 20 by 20 or 40 by 40. And that's not going to be big enough for the workshops that a lot of these people are wanting. I've got people that do woodworking, and they need it to be something large enough to build furniture or something like that in. And so in the neighborhoods of High Point, they let you build a large workshop. You can put an RV, you can store a boat in there, you can run a business with electricity out there. So as long as you get the approval from the HOA, you have a lot more freedom in High Point, and that's what people are looking for.
So it's the man's workshop. It's the guy that gets not just to go out and tinker and make a little dartboard. He's making a project.
Exactly.
I love that.
I have yet to have a woman desperate for the workshop like I have had the men. I'm sure that will happen, but right now it's always the men.
I imagine, and so you mentioned acres. So you said half point on up. What is it? I don't want to say average, but kind of give me the low end. What's the high end? What do you think the common?
The low end is 1.5. I mean, there are big acres out there, and there's 5 acres all the way in that neighborhood as well. So I think the average is meant to be around 2 acres. If some of them have the lake behind them, because there is a private lake in that neighborhood as well. Or some of them have a green belt with trees, so it does limit sometimes the amount of land that's physically yours, but 1.5 is by far the minimum that you're going to get in that neighborhood.
Very cool. And the private lake and everything else, I assume that's tremendous.
Yes.
That's awesome. Miss Sarah, thank you for joining me today, and we appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next video.
Thank you.